What happens when your greatest strength becomes your deepest vulnerability? When the very gift meant to save a nation is buried beneath the rubble of one man's passions. This is not a story of perfect heroism. It is a story of a flawed weapon, a broken vow, and a grace that waits in the darkness for one final prayer. For 40 years, the Israelites groaned under the fist of the Philistines. The hope of deliverance felt like a forgotten promise, until a divine announcement came, not to a king or a general, but to a barren woman. An angel stood before her with impossible news. She would bear a son set apart for God from the womb, a Nazarite. His hair would never be cut. His strength would be supernatural. His purpose was singular: to begin the deliverance of Israel. They named him Samson. And from the beginning, his life was a paradox, a divine purpose wrapped in human frailty. The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, granting a strength that defied nature. With his bare hands, he tore a lion apart. He slew 30 men in fury. He caught 300 foxes, tied torches to their tails, and set the Philistine fields ablaze. He picked up the fresh jawbone of a donkey, and with it killed 1,000 men. His strength was a legend, but his heart was a battlefield. He was governed not by strategy, but by appetite. He demanded a wife from the Philistines, seeing only what pleased his eyes. He moved from one entanglement to another, his divine strength often wielded for personal vengeance. He was a judge of Israel, yet he seemed most judged by his own desires. Then came Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines saw what Samson did not. They saw that his strength was not in his muscles, but in his consecration, in his vow, in his hair. "Tell me the secret of your great strength," she whispered. Day after day, her words a slow poison. "How can you be bound?" 3 times he lied. 3 times she tested him. And 3 times he broke free, as if playing a game he could not lose. But the spirit that empowered his body could not fortify a will worn down by persistence. "How can you say you love me," she wept, "if you do not trust me with your heart?" Finally, worn and soul-weary, he told her everything. "A razor has never touched my head. If I am shaved, my strength will leave me." He laid his divine secret in the lap of betrayal, and as he slept, the scissors cut. The vow was severed. He awoke to her cry, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you!" He shook himself, as he had before, but this time the spirit had departed. He did not know the Lord had left him. The strong man was hollow. They seized him. They gouged out his eyes, and they led him, bound in bronze chains, into the dank prison of Gaza, to grind grain like an animal. This is where many stories end, in the dark, in shame, when the gift is squandered and the calling seems a cruel joke. But hair, quietly, begins to grow. A vow, silently, begins its return. In the prison of his consequences, a prayer began to form. Not for escape, not for a second chance at his old life, but for one final alignment with his forgotten purpose. The Philistines, drunk on victory, gathered their rulers and thousands more in the temple of their god, Dagon. "Our God has delivered our enemy into our hand," they roared. And for their amusement, they sent for the blind fool. "Bring out Samson to entertain us." Led by a servant to the heart of the temple, Samson felt the 2 central pillars that held the entire structure aloft. The roar of the crowd was the same roar that had taunted Israel for decades. And in that moment, surrounded by the enemies of his people, blind and broken, he found a clarity he never had in his strength. "Sovereign Lord," he prayed, the simplest and most profound words of his life, "remember me, strengthen me just once more, let me die with the Philistines." He placed a hand on each pillar, and with a cry that carried the weight of a squandered life and a reclaimed purpose, he pushed. The temple fell, and in his death, he killed more than he ever had in his life. The deliverer, in the end, delivered. So, what is the echo of this tragic, powerful life for you? Perhaps you feel the tension of a gift and a weakness living in the same heart. You know what you are called to, but your appetites pull you another way. Your strength is real, but so is your blindness. Hear this: God's purpose is more resilient than your failure. His call is not revoked by your detour. Even in the prison of your own making, your hair can begin to grow again. The vow can be remembered. The prayer, "Remember me," is never too late. Samson's story tells us that God can use even our broken ends to accomplish His holy beginnings. Remember, no failure is final until God says it is, and He is the God of the long, patient, redeeming wait. Subscribe to Echoes of Scripture